The warning lights flashed red across the HFY monitoring station. Sensor Officer Vel-10 stared at his screen with confusion. The numbers made no sense. He tapped the display twice, hoping it would fix itself. It did not. Commander Zexthal. Vel-10 called across the bridge. I have a strange reading here. Commander Zexthal walked over. He was tall, even for a HFY, with gray skin and forearms. His 3 eyes focused on the screen. He had been fighting humans for 20 years. He knew their ships well. This reading was wrong. What am I looking at? Zexthal asked. A human vessel, sir, but the speed readings are impossible. It shows the ship moving faster than any human technology should allow. Zexthal's middle eye twitched. Run a diagnostic on the sensors. Already done, sir. 3 times. The sensors are working fine. The commander studied the data. Human ships were slow and clumsy. They used basic fusion drives and took weeks to cross star systems. This reading showed a ship moving at speeds that would take days, not weeks. Could it be a new human weapon? Vel-10 asked. Humans don't make new weapons, Zexthal said with a laugh. They barely understand the weapons they have now. But as he watched, the blip on the screen kept moving. Fast, very fast. Too fast. Sir, another officer called from across the bridge. Station HFY is reporting the same contact. Station Mordon confirms as well. Zexthal felt his stomach drop. 3 stations meant it was real. The human ship was real, and it was moving at impossible speeds. Direction and destination? He asked. Vel-10 worked at his controls. Sir, it's heading straight for the HFY home system. At current speed, it will arrive in 6 days. 6 days. Zexthal had seen human fleets take 3 months to reach the home system. This single ship would be there in less than a week. Get me high command immediately. Zexthal ordered. The communication screen flickered to life. General Vexmore appeared, his black uniform covered in battle ribbons. Behind him, Zexthal could see the war room of the High Command. What is so urgent, Commander? Vexmore asked. Sir, we have detected a human vessel moving at impossible speeds toward our home system. The general's 3 eyes narrowed. Explain. Impossible. The ship is moving 10 times faster than any human vessel we have ever recorded. Our best estimates put human technology at least 50 years away from such speeds. Vexmore was quiet for a long moment. Are you certain this is a human ship? The energy signature matches human fusion drives, but it's much stronger. Much more powerful than anything in our database. Show me the data. Zexthal nodded to Vel-10, who transmitted the sensor readings. The general studied them on his screen. His face grew darker with each passing second. This cannot be correct, Vexmore said. Humans are barely capable of interstellar travel. They have no advanced technology. Their biggest ships carry maybe 1,000 crew members. Sir, we have checked and double-checked. 3 monitoring stations confirm the contact. The ship is real, and it's coming fast. Vexmore turned to speak with someone off-screen. Zexthal could hear voices in the background, but could not make out the words. When the general turned back, his expression was grim. Commander, I want constant updates on this vessel, every hour. If it changes course, I want to know immediately. If it slows down, I want to know. If it sneezes, I want to know. Yes, sir. And, Commander, start running deep scans. I want to know everything about this ship. Size, weapons, crew complement, everything. The screen went dark. Zexthal turned back to his crew. You heard the general. I want every sensor we have pointed at. That ship. I want to know what we're dealing with. For the next 4 hours, the crew worked without rest. Slowly, more information came in. Each piece of data was more disturbing than the last. Commander, Vel-10 said, his voice shaking. "I'm getting size. Estimates. How big is it?" Velton checked his readings 3 times before answering. "Sir, the ship appears to be approximately 12 kilometers long." Zexthel felt his knees go weak. 12 kilometers? That's impossible. The largest human ship ever built was barely 1 kilometer. "Sir, I've checked the readings multiple times. The ship is massive. It's larger than some of our space stations." "Lieutenant." Kexrow looked up from her station. "Commander, I'm detecting strange energy patterns from the vessel." "What kind of patterns?" "I've never seen anything like them. The energy signature keeps changing. Sometimes it looks like a fusion drive, sometimes like something else entirely. Something we don't have in our database." Zexthel walked to her station. The energy readings danced across the screen in patterns he had never seen before. They pulsed and shifted like they were alive. Could their technology have advanced this much without us knowing? Kexroll asked. "Impossible," Zexthel said, but his voice lacked confidence. "We have spies in human space. We monitor their communications. We would know if they had developed new technology." But even as he said it, doubt crept into his mind. The ship was real. It was moving at impossible speeds. It was bigger than anything humans had ever built. And it was heading straight for the heart of Kethver space. "Sir," Velton called out, "I'm detecting additional anomalies." "What now?" "The ship appears to be flickering." "Flickering?" "Yes, sir. Sometimes our sensors detect it clearly. Other times it almost disappears from our screens, like it's phasing in and out of normal space." Zexthel stared at the readings. Humans did not have phase technology. No one had phase technology. It was theoretical at best. "Are our sensors malfunctioning?" "No, sir. All 3 monitoring stations are reporting the same phenomena." The commander sat down in his chair. 20 years of fighting humans had taught him that they were stubborn and resourceful, but not advanced. They used simple weapons and basic ships. They relied on numbers and determination rather than superior technology. This ship changed everything. "Get me high command again," he ordered. When General Vexmore appeared on screen, Zexthel could see. But the war room behind him was now filled with officers and scientists. "Report, Commander." "Sir, the situation is worse than we thought. The ship is 12 kilometers long. It's showing energy signatures we don't recognize. And sir, ... It appears to have some kind of phase technology." The war room fell silent. Zexthel could see scientists shaking their heads in disbelief. "Phase technology?" Vexmore asked. "Humans don't have phase technology." "No, sir, they don't. But this ship does." The general was quiet for a long time. Behind him, Zexthel could see heated discussions between the scientists and military officers. "Commander, I'm sending our fastest cruiser to intercept and investigate." 4 days. "Sir, should we consider alerting the home fleet?" "Already done. The entire home defense fleet is being mobilized. If this is some new human weapon, we need to be ready." "And if it's not a weapon, sir?" Dexmore's 3 eyes focused on the screen. "Then we need to find out what it is. And fast." The screen went dark again. Zexthel looked around his bridge at his crew. They all had the same expression of worry and confusion. In 6 days, whatever was on that ship would reach Keth-4 space. And none of them had any idea what they were really dealing with. Admiral Crexon stood on the bridge of the battlecruiser Dominance. Around him, the fastest ships in the Kethver fleet moved through space in perfect formation. 12 heavy cruisers, 30 destroyers, and 40 fighter craft. It was enough firepower to destroy a small planet. But as he watched the sensor readings of the approaching human vessel, doubt filled his mind. "Admiral," Captain Nexfer reported from the communication station, "we have visual contact with the target. Put it on the main screen. The bridge fell silent as the image appeared. Even Admiral Crexon, who had seen battles across 50 star systems, felt his breath catch in his throat. The ship was enormous. It stretched across space like a metal mountain. The hull was dark gray, almost black, with strange markings carved deep into its surface. But what shocked everyone was how smoothly it moved. Something so large should be slow and clumsy. This ship moved like a dancer. "By the void," whispered Lieutenant Tepar. "Look at the size of that thing." "It's beautiful," said another officer. Crexon silenced them with a look. Beautiful or not, it was a threat. "All ships, take attack formation. Target the vessels." Engines. The fleet spread out around the massive human ship. Crexon had used this formation many times against human vessels. It always worked. Humans panicked when surrounded. They made mistakes. "Admiral," the communications officer called. "Should we try to contact them first? Contact them? They are in our space without permission. That is an act of war." But even as he said it, Crexon felt curious about the ship. The markings on its hull were unlike anything he had seen before. They looked old. Very old. Some symbols looked like ancient human writing, but others were completely unknown. "Send a message on all frequencies," he ordered. "Unknown human vessel, you have entered Keth for space without authorization. Stop your engines and prepare to be boarded." They waited. The massive ship continued moving toward the Kethfer home system. No response came. "Send the message again," Crexon ordered. Still nothing. "Admiral," the sensor operator called. "The vessel is not responding to our hails, but I'm detecting something strange." "What?" "There are energy buildups along the ship's hull. Hundreds of them. They look like ... weapon ports." Crexon studied the sensor data. The human ship had more weapons than his entire fleet combined. But they were not firing. They were not even targeting his ships. "All vessels move to intercept course. If they won't stop, we'll make them stop." The Kethfer fleet moved forward. The massive human ship continued on its path, ignoring them completely. Fire warning shots across their bow. Crexon ordered bright beams of energy lanced out from his ships. The shots passed in front of the human vessel, close enough to be clearly seen, but not close enough to cause damage. The ship did not slow down. It did not change course. It acted like the warning shots had never happened. "Admiral," Captain Nexfer said nervously, "they're ignoring us completely." "Then we stop ignoring them. All ships, target their engines. Fire." The space around the human vessel erupted in weapons fire. Dozens of energy beams and missile strikes converged on the ship's rear section. Crexon expected to see explosions, fires, maybe the ship losing power and drifting instead. Something impossible happened. The weapons fire simply passed through empty space. The human ship had moved. In the time it took for the weapons to travel from the Kethfer fleet to the target, the massive vessel had somehow shifted position. Not turned, not accelerated. It had simply been somewhere else. What just happened? Crexon demanded. The sensor operator's hands shook as he checked his readings. "Sir, the ship appears to have moved 3 kilometers to starboard in less than 1 second. That's impossible. Nothing that size can move that fast." "Sir, I'm reading the ship in its new position. But I'm also reading traces of it in its old position. Like it was in both places at the same time." Crexon felt cold fear creep up his spine. "Are you saying the ship can teleport?" "I don't know. What I'm saying, sir, I've never seen readings like this before." The Admiral stared at the human vessel. It continued moving toward the home system, as if nothing had happened. As if a fleet of Kethfer warships had not just tried to destroy it. "All ships surround the target. Close formation. Fire everything you have." The Kethver fleet converged on the human ship from all directions. This time, Crexon ordered continuous fire. If the ship could move quickly, maybe constant weapons, fire would hit it before it could escape. The space around the human vessel became a storm of energy and explosions. Every ship in the fleet fired at once. Enough firepower to level a city rained down on the target. And again, the impossible happened. The human ship seemed to flicker. One moment it was there, taking the full force of the attack. The next moment it was elsewhere, completely untouched. Then it flickered back, then away again. It was like watching a reflection on water. Cease fire. Crexon shouted. The weapons fire stopped. The human ship solidified in space, exactly where it had been before the attack started. Not a single mark showed on its hull. "Admiral," the communications officer said in a shaking voice, "I'm receiving a transmission from the human vessel." "Put it through." Static filled the bridge, then cleared. A human voice spoke, but the words were strange. The language was human, but old. Very old. Crexon's translation computer struggled to make sense of it. "Greetings, warriors of the Kethfor people. We are the crew of the vessel Transcendence. We mean no harm to your people or your worlds. We are simply passing through your space on our way home." The voice was calm, almost friendly. But there was something else in it. Something that made Crexon's skin crawl. Power. Ancient power. "This is Admiral Crexon of the Kethfor Defense Fleet. You have entered our space without permission. Your ship's technology is unknown to us. State your intentions." "Our intentions are peaceful, Admiral. We seek only passage to the region of space once known as human territory. We have been away for a very long time." "How long?" There was a pause. When the human spoke again, sadness filled his voice. 312 years, by our count. We left human space when your people and ours first made contact. We have been traveling ever since." Crexon felt confused. 300 years ago, humans had barely reached their own moon. They certainly did not have ships capable of interstellar travel. What you say is impossible. Humans did not have interstellar capability 300 years ago. You are correct. Admiral, when we left, humans had no such technology. We were explorers, sent to find new worlds beyond the galaxy's edge. We were not expected to return. Then how do you exist? How does your ship exist? Another pause. This time, when the human spoke, his voice carried a weight that made everyone on the bridge feel small. "We found things out there, Admiral. Old things, ancient things. Things that have been waiting in the dark between galaxies for longer than your civilization has existed. They taught us. They changed us. And now we have come home." The transmission ended. Admiral Crexon stared at the full human ship. It no longer looked like a simple vessel. It looked like something alive, something that had seen wonders and horrors beyond imagination. "Admiral," the sensor operator whispered, "the ship is moving again." On the screen, the massive vessel continued toward the Kethver home system. But now Crexon could see that it was not just moving through space. It was moving through something else, something deeper. "All ships fall back to escort formation," he ordered quietly. "Sir?" Captain Nexver asked. "We are not dealing with a normal human ship, Captain. We are dealing with something else entirely. Something that could destroy our entire fleet without effort." As the Kethver ships moved to a respectful distance, Admiral Crexon sent an urgent message to High Command. "Unknown human vessel is beyond our capability to stop. Recommend immediate evacuation of all non-essential personnel from the home system. This ship represents a threat we do not understand and cannot fight." In the depths of space, the Transcendence continued its journey home. And for the first time in his long military career, Admiral Crexon felt truly afraid. The emergency meeting in the Kethfer High Command War Room had been going for 6 hours. General Vexmore looked at the reports spread across the table and felt older than his 90 years. Every piece of information about the human ship made less sense than the last. "Read me the intelligence report again," he ordered. Chief Intelligence Officer Yexthara cleared her throat. "The vessel identifies itself as the Transcendence. According to our historical records, a human colony ship by that name was launched from Earth approximately 314 years ago. It was part of humanity's first attempt at interstellar colonization. And what happened to it? It vanished. The humans sent search parties, but found nothing. After 10 years, they declared the ship and its 50,000 passengers lost." General Vexmore rubbed his temples. 50,000 humans have been missing for 3 centuries, and now they come back with technology that makes our best ships look like toys. "Sir," Science Officer Kexton spoke up from across the table, "I've been studying the energy readings from Admiral Crexon's encounter. The ship's technology doesn't match anything in our database. Not human, not Kethvar, not any of the known species." "Explain." "The ship appears to be using some form of dimensional shifting. It doesn't move through normal space. It moves through something else, something we don't understand. Could they have developed this technology during their journey?" Kexton shook his head. "Sir, developing technology of this level would require resources and knowledge that we don't possess. And we've been building starships for 2,000 years. General Vexmore stood and walked to the large display screen showing the human ship's approach. "Then where did they get it?" "Sir," Yexthara said quietly, "there's something else. We've been monitoring their transmissions. Most of them are encrypted beyond our ability to decode, but we've picked up fragments." "What kind of fragments?" "They speak of things they encountered beyond the galactic rim. They mention ancient civilizations, things that have been waiting in the dark for millions of years." The room fell silent. Every officer present knew the legends, stories of ancient races that had ruled the galaxy before any current species had. Developed intelligence, most considered them myths. "Are you suggesting they made contact with these ancient civilizations?" Vexmore asked. "I'm suggesting they found something out there, sir. Something that changed them." Kexton activated his datapad. "Sir, I've been analyzing the ship's hull composition from long-range scans. Parts of it appear to be made from materials that don't exist in our periodic table. Other parts seem to be organic." "Organic? You mean living?" "I mean the hull appears to be growing, sir. Adapting, changing. It's like the ship is alive." General Vexmore sat down heavily. In his 50 years of military service, he had faced rebellions, alien invasions, and civil wars, but nothing like this. "What about the humans aboard? Are they still human?" Yexthara consulted her notes. "Unknown, sir. We've detected life signs aboard the vessel, but they're unlike anything we've seen before. The energy patterns suggest the crew has been ... modified. Modified how? We don't know. But they no longer register as baseline human on our sensors." A young lieutenant at the back of the room raised his hand nervously. "Sir, permission to ask a question?" "Go ahead." "If these humans have technology this advanced, why haven't they attacked us? Why are they just passing through our space?" It was a good question. General Vexmore had been wondering the same thing. A ship with the power to destroy entire fleets could have wiped out every Kethver world by now. "That," he said slowly, "is what worries me most." The doors to the war room opened and Admiral Crexon entered. His uniform was wrinkled and his 3 eyes were bloodshot. He had been following the human ship for 2 days without sleep. "Admiral," Vexmore said, "report." "Sir, the situation continues to deteriorate. The ship has entered our home system. It's currently passing the outer planets. Our entire defense fleet is shadowing it, but we might as well be throwing rocks. Any further contact from the humans? Yes, sir. They've been sending us transmissions. Technical data, mostly. Information about their journey. Crexon activated a portable display. Strange symbols and equations filled the screen. Our scientists have been trying to decode this for hours. What they've found is ... disturbing. Explain. Sir, according to this data, the humans didn't just travel beyond the galactic rim. They traveled beyond our dimension. They found civilizations that exist in spaces between realities. Ancient beings that have been watching our galaxy since before life began. Science Officer Kexden leaned forward. Are you saying they made contact with extra-dimensional entities? I'm saying they did more than make contact. According to these transmissions, they learned from them. They became part of them. The implications hit everyone in the room at the same time. If humans had gained knowledge from beings that existed outside normal reality, there was no limit to what they might be capable of. Sir, Admiral Crexon continued, there's more. The humans have been sending us star charts, maps of regions beyond our galaxy. They show civilizations and structures that span entire galaxy clusters. And sir, some of those structures are moving toward our galaxy. General Vexmore felt his blood turn cold. Moving toward us? When? The humans estimate approximately 500 years, sir. What do they want from us? That's the strange part, sir. They claim they want to help us prepare. Yexthara looked up from her datapad. Sir, I've been analyzing the humans' behavioral patterns since they entered our system. They're not acting like conquerors. They're acting like teachers. Teachers? Every transmission they send contains information. Scientific data, historical records, warnings about threats we've never heard of. It's like they're trying to educate us. The war room fell quiet again. General Vexmore walked to the window, overlooking the capital city. Millions of Kethver citizens went about their daily lives, unaware that everything they thought they knew about the universe had just changed. What's the ship's current position? He asked. Approaching the 4th planet, sir. At current speed, it will reach our homeworld in 18 hours. Any indication of hostile intent? None, sir. If anything, the ship seems to be slowing down, like it's giving us time to process the information they're sending. General Vexmore made a decision that would change Cathvar history forever. Admiral, signal the defense fleet. They are to take escort positions around the human vessel, but they are not to take any aggressive action. We're going to let them reach our homeworld. Sir? Admiral Crexon looked shocked. That ship could destroy our entire planet. Admiral, that ship could have destroyed our entire civilization days ago. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be dead. They're here for something else. What if you're wrong, sir? General Vexmore turned back to his officers. Then we were never going to stop them anyway. But if I'm right, and these humans have truly gained knowledge from ancient civilizations, then they might be our only hope of surviving what's coming. He activated the communication system that connected to every Kethver world, citizens of the Kethver Empire. In one day, a human vessel will arrive at our homeworld. This vessel carries knowledge that will change everything we thought we knew about the universe. I ask for your patience and your courage as we face this new chapter in our history. As the transmission ended, reports came in from across the system. The human ship was broadcasting on all frequencies now. Technical specifications for technologies beyond imagination. Star charts of regions no Kethvar had ever seen. And warnings about ancient threats that would soon test every species in the galaxy. The age of ignorance was ending. Whether that was good or bad remained to be seen. The Transcendents arrived at Kethva Prime exactly 18 hours later. The massive ship took position in high orbit above the planet's capital city. From the surface, it looked like a new moon had appeared in the sky. General Lexmore stood on the observation deck of Central Command, watching the ship through powerful telescopes. Even from this distance, he could see details that made his mind struggle to understand what he was looking at. Parts of the ship's hull moved like living tissue. Sections that had been solid metal hours ago now pulsed with organic rhythm. Strange. Lights traveled along pathways that looked more like veins than circuits. "Sir?" Communications Officer Vel Karan called from behind him. "The human vessel is sending a transmission. It's being broadcast to every communication device on the planet." "Put it through." The voice that filled the command center was human, but changed. It carried harmonics that no natural voice should have. When it spoke, everyone listening felt the words, not just in their ears, but in their minds. "People of Kethver, Prime, we are the crew of the vessel you know as Transcendence. We have returned from the void between galaxies to share what we have learned. We request permission to demonstrate the gifts we have brought back." General Lexmore picked up the communicator. "This is General Lexmore of the Kethver Defense. Command, what kind of demonstration?" "General, your world suffers from many problems. Your southern continent lacks fresh water. Your northern ice caps are melting. Your third moon has an unstable orbit that threatens your cities with debris. We can fix these things." Lexmore felt his breath catch. The problems the human mentioned were correct, but they were classified. No human should know about the orbital mechanics of Kethver's moons. "How do you know about our planetary issues?" "General, we have been watching your world for some time. Not with malicious intent, but with concern. The changes coming to this galaxy will affect all worlds. Preparation is necessary." "What changes?" Instead of answering, the ship acted. A beam of soft blue light extended from the Transcendence toward the southern continent. Where it touched the largest desert, something impossible happened. Water began to flow. Not from underground springs or melted ice, but from the air itself. The atmosphere released its moisture in precise patterns, creating rivers where none had existed before. "By the void," whispered Science Officer Kextan, who had joined Lexmore on the observation deck. "They're pulling water directly from atmospheric vapor. The energy requirements alone should be impossible." But the ship was not finished. A second beam, this one silver, touched the melting ice caps in the north. The ice stopped melting. More than that, it began to grow. New ice formed from the air, but this ice was different. It would not melt, even under the heat of Kethvor's sun. "General," the human voice spoke again, "please observe your third moon." Lexmore turned the telescopes toward the small rocky moon that orbited dangerously close to the planet. For years, Kethvor scientists had predicted it would eventually break apart and shower the planet with deadly meteors. As they watched, the moon began to glow, not with heat, but with the same blue light that had created the rivers. The moon's erratic orbit smoothed into a perfect circle. Its unstable rotation stopped wobbling. "How?" Kexton whispered. "We have learned to work with the fundamental forces of reality," the human voice explained. "Mass, energy, time, and space are not barriers. They are tools." Communications Officer Vel Karan looked up from his station with wide eyes. "Sir, I'm receiving reports from across the planet. Dead zones where nothing would grow are suddenly blooming with plant life. Poisoned lakes are becoming clear. Cities that have struggled with power shortages are reporting their energy grids are somehow working at impossible efficiency." General Lexmore realized he was witnessing something that changed everything. This was not an invasion. It was not even a demonstration of power. It was an act of healing on a planetary scale. "Human vessel," he spoke into the communicator. Why are you doing this? Because, General, you will need strong worlds to face what is coming, and because it is what humans do. We fix things, we help. It is our nature, even when we have become something more than human. What do you mean, something? More than human? There was a pause. When the voice spoke again, it carried sadness and wonder in equal measure. General, would you and your senior staff be willing to come aboard our vessel? There are things that cannot be explained from a distance. Dexmore looked at his officers. They all showed the same mixture of fear and curiosity he felt. But after, watching the ship heal their world, the fear was losing to curiosity. We will come, he decided. An hour later, a small HFY shuttle approached the Transcendence. As they drew closer, the true scale of the ship became clear. It was not just large, it was a world unto itself. Cities could be built in its shadow. Sir, the shuttle pilot said nervously, I'm detecting a docking bay opening, but it's unusual. Instead of mechanical doors, the ship's hull simply opened like a flower blooming. The edges moved with organic smoothness, creating a perfect landing space for their shuttle. General Dexmore and 5 of his senior officers stepped out of the shuttle into the docking bay. The walls around them pulsed with gentle light. The floor felt warm beneath their feet, like living skin. Welcome aboard the Transcendence. The voice came from a figure approaching them through the bay. It had once been human. That much was clear from its basic shape. But it had been changed. Its skin had a translucent quality that showed veins of light running beneath. Its eyes held depths that seemed to contain galaxies. I am Captain Martinez, the figure said. I commanded this vessel when we left human space 3 centuries ago. I still command it now, though both the ship and I have changed considerably. Captain, General Dexmore said carefully, what happened to you out there? Captain Martinez smiled, and his expression was still recognizably human despite all the changes. We found teachers, General, ancient beings who have watched over this galaxy since before your species learned to make fire. They saw potential in humanity that even we did not understand. He gestured for them to follow him through corridors that seemed to shift and flow around them. Humans, you see, have a unique quality. We adapt. We learn. We refuse to give up. When we encountered civilizations that had existed for millions of years, they were impressed not by our technology or our strength, but by our refusal to accept limitations. They entered a vast chamber filled with impossible sights. Waterfalls flowed upward. Stars hung in the air like lanterns. Gardens grew in 3 dimensions, with trees whose roots and branches extended in all directions. This is our home now, Captain Martinez explained. A fusion of human determination and ancient wisdom. We learned to work with forces that exist outside normal reality. We became partners with beings that most species consider gods. Science. Officer Kexton stared at the impossible chamber. Why did you come back? Because, my friend, our teachers showed us what is coming. Forces that dwarf anything in this galaxy are approaching. Beings that see entire civilizations as obstacles. To be removed. In 500 years, they will arrive. Captain Martinez turned to face the HFY officers directly. Every species in this galaxy will need to evolve beyond their current limitations to survive. Humans have always been good at bringing out the best in others. That is our gift to the galaxy. General Dexmore felt the weight of the universe settling on his shoulders. What do you need from us? Partnership, General, trust, and the courage to become more than you ever imagined possible. As they stood in the impossible chamber, aboard the Transcendence, the first day of a new age for the galaxy had begun. 3 months after the Transcendence arrived at HFY Prime, the galaxy began to change in ways no one had expected. General Vexmore stood in the communications center of Central Command, watching reports flow in from across known space. Every major civilization had received the same message that the Kethvar had heard. Every species now faced the same choice. "Sir," Communications Officer Vel Kiran said, "we're receiving confirmation from the Solari Federation. They've agreed to send representatives to the gathering." "That makes 17 species confirmed," Vexmore replied. "Any word from the human governments?" "Yes, sir. All 3 human colonial governments have agreed to participate. They seem excited about meeting their missing colonists." Vexmore almost smiled. Of all the species that had received Captain Martinez's message, the humans had been the most eager to learn what their people had become. They had always been curious like that. The gathering was Captain Martinez's idea. Representatives from every spacefaring species would come to a neutral system to learn about the approaching threat. More importantly, they would learn how to prepare for it. "Sir," Science Officer Kexden approached with a datapad in his hands. "The latest reports from our volunteers are remarkable." "Show me." The datapad displayed medical scans of 20 Kethver citizens who had volunteered to undergo the transformation process aboard the Transcendence. The changes were incredible. "Their cellular structure has been completely rebuilt," Kexton explained. "They can survive in vacuum, process energy directly from stellar radiation, and their brains show neural pathways that shouldn't be possible. But sir, they're still themselves. Still Kethvar, just ... more. Any negative effects? None that we can detect. If anything, they seem happier, more at peace. Like they understand something the rest of us don't." Exmore nodded. He had spoken with the volunteers several times. They described feeling connected to something vast and ancient, but also to each other and to their world in ways they had never experienced before. "Sir," Velkaran called out, "Captain Martinez is requesting permission to address the planet directly." "Granted." The main screen activated, showing Captain Martinez standing in what looked like a garden that existed in multiple dimensions. Behind him, other transformed humans moved through the space, tending to plants that grew in impossible directions. "Citizens of Kethver Prime," Captain Martinez began, his voice carrying that strange harmony that touched both ears and mind. "Today, we begin the final stage of preparation for what is to come." The screen shifted to show space around the Transcendence. Other ships were arriving. Ships from dozens of different species, all coming to learn. The beings that taught us have existed since the birth of this galaxy. They have watched civilizations rise and fall, always hoping that, one day, the younger races would be ready to join them in protecting all life. They have been waiting for species to evolve beyond competition and conflict, to understand that survival requires cooperation on a scale never before imagined. The view changed again, showing images that made Dexmore's mind struggle to understand what he was seeing. Structures that spanned entire star systems. Beings of pure energy working alongside creatures of flesh and metal. Civilizations that had learned to exist in harmony with the fundamental forces of reality. The threat approaching. Our galaxy is not evil in the way you might understand evil. It is order taken to its ultimate extreme. It seeks to make all things uniform, all things predictable, all things static. It cannot tolerate the chaos and creativity that drive evolution and growth. 500 years from now, it will arrive. And when it does, every world that has not learned to transcend its limitations will be absorbed into a collective that knows no individuality, no growth, no hope. The images shifted to show what the approaching force looked like. Geometric patterns that hurt to look at directly. Ships that existed in perfect mathematical harmony. Worlds stripped of all natural variation and rebuilt into sterile perfection. But there is hope, Captain Martinez continued. The Ancient Ones have been preparing for this confrontation for millions of years. They have been waiting for species like yours to join them. Species with the courage to become more than they were born to be. The screen now showed the space. Around HFY Prime, ships from 17 different species floated in formation around the Transcendence. Representatives from across the galaxy had come to learn. Today, we offer every species the same choice we offered the HFY: evolution or extinction, partnership or isolation, growth or stagnation. The transformation is not mandatory, but those who choose it will gain abilities beyond your current imagination. You will be able to travel between dimensions, manipulate matter and energy with thought alone, and most importantly, you will be connected to a network of consciousness that spans the galaxy. General Vexmore received a priority communication from Admiral Crichton, who was commanding the fleet around the gathering. "Sir," the Admiral reported, "something's happening. All the ships are beginning to ... change." Vexmore looked at the main screen. The Transcendence was extending tendrils of light toward the visiting ships. Where the light touched, the vessels began to transform. Hull plating became organic. Engine sections grew new configurations. Weapon systems evolved into something entirely different. "Captain Martinez," Vexmore spoke into his communicator, "what are you doing to the ships?" "General, we are offering them the same gift we gave your world. The ships are being enhanced, not controlled. Their crews maintain full command, but now their vessels can do things they never dreamed possible." As they watched, a Zelari heavy cruiser phased out of normal space and reappeared instantly on the other side of the system. A human exploration. Vessel began generating matter from pure energy. A Thorkin battleship healed damage to its hull that had existed for decades. "The network is forming," Captain Martinez explained. "Each species that joins becomes stronger and makes the whole stronger. This is how we will face what is coming." Over the following hours, representatives from each species toured the Transcendence. They met the transformed humans, saw the impossible technologies, and learned about the ancient civilizations that had been waiting for this moment. One by one, they made their choice. The Zelari sent 50 volunteers for transformation. The humans sent 200. The Thorkin sent their entire scientific council. Even species that had been at war with each other for centuries put aside their conflicts to face the greater threat together. As the sun set on HFY Prime, General Vexmore stood on his observation deck watching the transformed fleet in orbit. The ships no longer looked like vessels of war. They looked like things of beauty, purpose, and hope. "Sir?" Kexton approached him with another report. "The volunteers who underwent transformation are requesting permission to establish permanent colonies in the outer systems. They want to build facilities to help others through the process." "Permission granted," Vexmore said without hesitation. "Sir, there's something else. The volunteers are reporting that they can sense the approaching threat now. It's definitely coming, just as Captain Martinez said, but they also sense something else." "What?" "Other galaxies, sir. Hundreds of them. All preparing for the same threat. All connected through the same network we're joining. We're not alone in this fight." As the days passed, the transformation spread across known space. Not everyone chose to change, but enough did to create a network of evolved beings spanning dozens of star systems. The galaxy was no longer a collection of separate civilizations competing for resources and territory. It was becoming something new, something united, something that could face any threat that dared to challenge the right of life to grow, change, and dream. And at the center of it all, humanity served as the bridge between species, just as they always had. Their gift for bringing out the best in others had become the key to saving everything that mattered. The age of isolation was over. The age of unity had begun.